Sup Minecrafters, SirRobHiFi here, and you may have seen that I've started building in my legit world. This is still on the test world, but I wanted to show you. I went back to the old school momentum method. Cart comes along, triggers the switch from here, the detector rail, and look at that, it's the red dot that saved me. Anyway, red dot powers this block, and there's an inverted torch on the back of this block. Then there's another piece of redstone to another torch on this block, and that switches the rail left and right here. An empty cart, when it triggers here, makes it around, but not fast enough to take this turn, but a full cart will. Any occupied cart will just come down here, go off here, and then I've set another detector here for dispensing new carts. See, the empty cart doesn't have enough momentum when it reaches this part of the track to get to the turn quick enough. So, and I've tested it out, I can get in the cart even right down at this end. So even if there's a ghast pickup right at this end of the trap, it will still make it around and then drop down to my crusher section. So that's the fix. I think I'll switch over to my normal world. The nice thing about that fix is it means I can keep everything on the same level and use half slabs or glass or whatever to cover the rails all the way around, so I won't have pigment on the track at all, which is great. The other area where it was an issue was on the tracks that spiral all the way up to refill the Pez dispensers above, and if I get pigment on the track on that, it's not such a big deal because the cart can rebound off the pigment, come all the way down, it'll rebound off the cart and then try again to get to the top, and it will keep going until it manages to fill the Pez dispenser. So it'll get there eventually. Even if pigment are getting in the way sometimes, it's not going to be an issue because there's going to be enough backup carts in the Pez dispensers to keep everything going. So that's not a problem. So anyway, let's go up here. This vine curtain has been working out pretty good. It's not perfect because although I said my idea was to jump off and suicide if a ghast gets inside the curtain, when you start building this, you know, you're just putting down the first rows of cobble and stuff like that, you're actually a lot more exposed. And when it came down to it, when a ghast came in, I automatically tried to shoot it down. I guess, you know, the human will to live is stronger than we imagine. I just don't want to die. So I've had a few mishaps. You can see there's a gap in the curtain over here because a ghast hit it over here. There's a couple gaps on this side. There's a big one over here. But once you've started building and you've got some stuff in place like this, you're actually a lot safer because you can just hide underneath stuff like this and they'll stop shooting because they can't see you. So it's only in the very first stages that you're really in danger. Anyway, this is just some scaffolding underneath the first layer of spawning strip, and I've just put in, this is just so I can get in underneath and place blocks to put in the torches to power the rail above. And I've already half slabbed out the rails down to that end. I've left this section open yet, or still, because as you can see this is exactly the same as the setup in the test world detector rail, except this part of it here. I've just got 4 pieces of powered rail to make sure that the cart, well, see, that's the thing, I put everything in parallel, strips of 3, but this is going to have to be shifted back over there. I could probably just make that section longer because I need unpowered rail for a certain number of blocks before I hit the detector, because if I have the powered rail here, even an empty cart will make it around this corner off here, so I'm going to have to fix that. But I didn't think in advance because I was working from underneath and powering and, you know, following a pattern. So yeah, I've got this level going. I've got the spawn strips with the pusher pistons, and now I don't need double pusher pistons because I've moved the rail a block closer. There's 2 blocks either side of the spawning strip, so that makes a 5 wide area that's just enough for the ghast to spawn in. And for the time being, on each level, I've used dirt above, but I've got blocks in the way, so this is only 3 high. So while I'm working on this, no ghasts can spawn in here. They can spawn on the top level at the moment, but that's no big deal. The other thing I'm gonna play around with is this option. Instead of just using signs, I'm thinking of using ladders for safe fall. So if they fall from this level, this is more than 24 blocks. I've left enough room so that I can build a platform at least another 6 or 8 blocks up from these half slabs, because I want to lift up, I want to be able to build up, and I don't want to have to deal with lava. So I'm going to have a platform down there. And what I was thinking with these ladders is that if they drop from the higher levels, they'll safe fall down to this level, and then when they fall from this level, I can have pistons that push in, and if I want to, I can let them drop 23 blocks, and then there'll be 1 hit from death. If I want to come down here with a looting sword and really take advantage of the looting enchant and get extra gold and zombie meat. Not that I want zombie meat, but yeah, I figured that would be a nice little addition too, you know. And I'm gonna have to play around with this. I think it works. I think they still walk off. It worked in my Venus Skytrap. You know, they walked off no problem, and they see it kind of like it's solid blocks, kind of like they do with signs. And technically it is to an extent, but they can fall down the gap. And if I space these out nicely, they shouldn't land on the strip. They should just fall all the way down to the bottom level. So that will give me an option for the looting enchant, like I said. If I retract the pistons, they'll fall to their death. And I was thinking of doing a little rail cart along the bottom here. Okay, here you can see some action here. Alright, he's out of the curtain, see. I can shoot him through, hide, keep an eye on where he's coming from. Normally, if that curtain wasn't there, he'd have blown up rails and pistons and all kinds of stuff. So you can see the advantage of having it. It's been very, very helpful. So what I was saying was, down at the bottom level where they fall to their death, I was thinking of doing something along the lines of what I saw again on Red Eye's setup for his pigman farm. And that was a rail cart with trapdoors. So you can ride the rail cart and the trapdoors won't cause collision. You can just ride through, same as you could with half slabs of glass. And I could literally be riding around collecting the loot that way. Should work, because I'm just going to be going straight up and back in a loop, and on this side of the loop out here I could run it underneath the crusher, so where the loop falls down from the Ghast, say the gold nuggets, gunpowder, the gunpowder and the Ghast tears, I should be able to scoop them up on my circuit also, so I can sit in the cart and go around in a loop like that. And because of the way mobs spawn and only path for about 5 seconds before freezing in place, I think what I could possibly do to help deal with that is I could have this circuit for me to AFK on. I could bring it up quite high and then drop back down, ride back down, something where I go up within the vicinity of the spawning strips and then go back down again, which would cause mobs to move. But I'm not sure if it's going to be necessary, because the only places they're going to be able to spawn is on these blocks and on these blocks on the other side, and if they don't walk off in that 5 seconds, I think that's going to be pretty rare. I think for the most part they are going to wander off down these drops, and I may fill in these gaps so that they can't fall down here, but I'm not sure if I should. So yeah, what else can I tell you? Just got some half slabs over the top of the pistons and stuff, so that there's no spawning going on over here, and so there's no escape. These half slabs, if I've got pigmen spawning out here, I don't want them walking off that side. I want them to go down these drops in the middle. So that's about it. It's getting there. And I did have someone send me a message asking me what I meant by modular. You know, it's like such a massive job. Well, as you can see, doing this one strip doesn't take you very long. It's, you know, it's not that much resources. It's a lot of cobble, and I think everyone has lots of cobble. But the point is that from this end of the trap, anytime I want to, I can add in more strips extending off in this direction. All I can have to do here is break the rail and extend that out further, and that's horizontally. And vertically, I mean, I've got tons of room up there still. So, you know, I've built one strip so far, and it's not quite finished yet, but this was the idea, is that I would get some strips going, plan out where everything's going to be. Now I know where my drop off is going to be. It's going to be down here. All in this area here, I'm going to have to build a tower to bring carts back up to the top, build some Pez dispensers for each level going from here up, and somewhere down here I built my crusher setup, and I may stick it somewhere in the middle over here, because I want to be as far away from the land mass as possible. Although I'm going to suppress spawning around here, that's going to be the last step. I want them to be able to spawn out there until my trap is ready, because although I've got these dirt blocks in now, once I start removing them and testing and tweaking the final touches, I don't want Ghast blowing stuff up in here. The best way to do that is to let them spawn out in the surrounding terrain until I want to suppress that. So yeah, I think we're looking good. Hope this ladder idea works out. Should do. And I guess that's it for part 2 will come back when I've done a little bit more. Eventually, when I've got a finished product and and it's working well and the suppression has worked and I'm getting decent amount of ghast spawns and everything, people might by that time be more interested in building one themselves, you know, if they can see that it's working well. So when I get to that point, I may even do a bit of a tutorial on it. Alright guys, see you later.